Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Now turn to part 1.
You will hear a conversation between two people who are organising the catering for an event. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 3. Now listen and answer questions 1 to 3.
Thanks for agreeing to help out, Maddie. It'll be much quicker with two of us. These training days take such a lot of organizing. There are so many things to think about, and you know how stressed I get when things don't go according to plan. If we can sort out the catering now, it'll be one less thing to think about.
No problem. I'm happy to help. I know what a nightmare these events can be. Where will everybody be eating?
At first, I thought about having the food in the training room itself. That would be the least amount of trouble for everyone. Trouble is, it'd have to be hidden from them, or they'll start snacking as soon as they arrive. We could use the main meeting room, I suppose. That would give them the chance to get outside the training room for a little while, as long as they don't go back to the office during lunch. I'd like them to mix and chat about the training. And there's more room for a large table there. Yes, let's do that.
Yes, I think that'll work. When do you want the food for? Breakfast, lunch, or both?
I thought it'd be nice to start the day with breakfast, so they can eat before they start, and it would give people a chance to chat before the training gets underway. We haven't got the budget for 2 lots of food, though, so finance agreed to settle for lunch. We can supply teas and coffees ourselves in the morning when they arrive, and again at about 10:30.
Yes, that's a good idea. Maybe we could serve some biscuits, too. So, who's attending the event? Who do we need to include?
It'll be all the sales team, of course. Then there's the office staff, 3 of them. Oh, and we need to feed the trainer as well.
What about the manager? Is he going to be there?
I know he wanted to come, but I don't think he'll be able to join us. His secretary just told me he has an important meeting that morning.
Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 4 to 10. Now listen and answer questions 4 to 10. Okay, I've printed the order form off. Let's fill it in now, and I can transfer the information online later. What's the date of the event?
We usually run training days during the first week of October, but this year that proved difficult to timetable, so we had to move it to the 13th of November. That's 2 weeks from today.
And what time do we want the food delivered?
As early as possible, really. I don't want it arriving after we've started. The first session begins at 9, so let's ask for 8. That'll give me time to sort it out before the trainer arrives at 8:30.
So, how many people will we need the buffet for? The caterers will only deliver for a minimum of 10 people.
There'll be 15 altogether.
Right. Now, we have some options here, depending on how much we have to spend. There's the standard buffet package. That's £3.25 per person. All you get for that are sandwiches, crisps, hot and cold drinks. If I remember correctly, there were complaints from staff the last time we had a training event. Do you remember? They weren't happy with the sandwiches on offer, or something like that.
Yes, I vaguely remember. Well, what else do they offer?
There's the premium package. That's £5.50 per person. And you get some additional snacks. There is a salad bowl and something for dessert, like fruit and cakes. I reckon it'll be more appreciated by staff than the first option, don't you?
Well, that's an easy one. We've got a budget of £6 per person, so let's go for the premium package.
Do we know if there's anything anyone can't eat? Any vegetarians or vegans, for example? Or people with allergies?
I've emailed everyone who's attending. You'd think there'd be 1 or 2 vegetarians, but no. They're all meat eaters. There's one person who has to have dairy-free food, though, and no one said anything about allergies.
Right. That's about it. The caterers need a contact person. I'll put you down, shall I?
No, not me. Put down Carol in finance. She asked to be the contact person, as she'll be sorting out payment. It's Carol Beecham. Beecham.
And what's her telephone number in finance?
It's our number, 455-2298, extension 523.
That's done. One less job for you to worry about. I'll get back on their website and fill in these details.
Thanks, Maddie. I owe you one.
That is the end of part 1. You now have 1 minute to check your answers to part 1. Part 2.
You are going to hear a talk about how to stay safe during a heat wave. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 17. Now listen and answer questions 11 to 17. Thanks for giving me the chance to come along today to talk to you about the steps you can take to alleviate the ill effects of living through a heat wave. We certainly seem to have experienced a lot more of these recently, and with climate change an ongoing issue, things aren't likely to change in the near future. Extreme heat can be very uncomfortable for the fit and healthy, and it can be quite dangerous for the more vulnerable. So, I'd like to give you some tips on how to remain as comfortable as possible during these challenging periods. Okay, let's start by looking at what you can do inside the house. During the day, do what you can to keep direct sunlight out of rooms. If you have curtains or blinds, pull them shut. Having dark, heavy curtains doesn't really help much in a heat wave, as the material will trap the heat and transmit it into the room. So consider investing in lighter colours that don't absorb as much heat. And on the subject of windows, if it's safe to do so, keep windows open at night, as this will allow the cooler air to circulate around the rooms. If you're one of the lucky people to have air conditioning in your home, you'll certainly appreciate being able to sit in a cool room, but it's important to keep an eye on your energy usage. A simple alternative for those without air conditioning is to use a fan and place a bowl of ice in front of it. Buy yourself a little spray bottle. You know, one of those cheap plastic bottles we use to spray water on plants in the garden. And spray cold water on your face. And treat yourself to a cool shower every so often. A packet of face wipes can also serve a similar purpose and help you cool down. Remember where your body's cooling points are, namely your wrists and the back of your neck. Put some cloths in the freezer and place them on these areas when you're feeling particularly hot. Even if you do all of these things, you're still likely to be affected by the very high temperatures, and there are other things you should bear in mind. Pay close attention to your diet, as this will help you to deal with the heat. It's really important to eat healthily in order to replace the vitamins and minerals you'll lose through sweating. Remember to drink lots of water, at least 2 litres a day. It's easy to forget to do this, so keep a bottle of water by your side. But avoid drinking too much coffee, as this can have the opposite effect and dehydrate you. It's sometimes very tempting to pop outside and enjoy the sunny weather, but during a heat wave, it's best to leave the house only when necessary. Avoid going out between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. when temperatures are at their highest. Try to stay in the shade when you're walking around, and wear a hat with a wide brim to keep the sun off your face. You could even take an umbrella with you to give you some protection. Before you hear more of the guided tour, you have some time to look at questions 18 to 20. Now listen and answer questions 18 to 20. Wear loose-fitting, light-coloured clothes. Anything made with cotton or linen is particularly suitable for hot weather. Of course, it's essential that you put lots of sun cream on whenever you go out. If you like to get some physical exercise on a daily basis and insist on going out for your daily run or whatever your favourite activity is, you should be prepared to reduce the effort you'd normally put into it. And remember to stay hydrated. Finally, it's really important to consider how others might be affected by extreme heat. Certainly, don't leave your pets in a car with the windows closed. And remember to check on your neighbour if they happen to be old or have health issues. The elderly are particularly affected during a heat wave and will definitely benefit from you keeping an eye on their well-being. Just knock on their door each day to see if they're all right. And if they can't get out, why not help them out with some shopping?
That is the end of part 2. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 2. Part 3.
You will hear a student talking to their tutor, Mr. Gregson. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25. Now listen and answer questions 21 to 25. Thanks for making time to see me, Mr. Gregson. I really appreciate it. I've got an assignment due in for Professor Collins next Monday, and I'm having a few problems with it. I was hoping you could help me with a few questions.
Well, not with the topic itself, of course. It's not my area.
No, I understand that. It's more about the writing process.
OK, how far have you got?
I haven't actually started yet. Professor Collins is away until next week, and I thought I'd speak to you in the meantime. It took me a few days to get an appointment. The deadline's the end of next week, so I need to get started as soon as possible.
I hope you aren't going to use me as an excuse if you don't finish in time. Tutors usually set essays sometime in advance of the deadline to give you the chance to read the required literature. If you leave it till the last minute, the books are often all out on loan. I presume you've got the reading list?
Yes, there are lots of sources on there, and I've managed to get hold of some of the main ones. I wanted to speak with you to get some more advice on essay writing. No, just some general tips on what makes a good essay. I don't feel confident writing an academic piece of work, but that lesson you gave everyone on planning essays was really useful.
Oh, pleased to hear it. You should always start by focusing on the question. Do you remember my advice? It's really important to underline any key words and make sure you check whether there's more than one part to the question. You'd be surprised how many students fail to do this and only provide a partial answer.
Yes, I remember you telling us that. What confuses me are all the different words you see in a question, like analyse, discuss, evaluate, and so on. I'm never quite sure what the difference is between them.
Well, that often depends on the context of the question. In your subject area, history, you're expected to be able to show you understand why certain events took place and to be able to evaluate various points of view. One historian will have a different opinion from that of another, and a good response to the question will show an understanding of the arguments put forward by different people. When you're asked to analyse or discuss or evaluate different views, it's often a similar exercise.
Yes, I think I see what you mean. The essay for Professor Collins is on whether there would have been a revolution in Russia without Lenin. And yes, it's basically all about presenting different points of view.
That's it. Now, I'm planning on holding a session on research and referencing with your year soon. You say you've managed to get some of the sources on the reading list?
Yes, there were a couple of books in the library that I managed to get, and there are journals we can use on the online portal.
Yes, that's very useful. The information in the journals will be up to date and a great addition to the books.
Is it best to avoid using blogs, wikis, that kind of thing?
Yes, definitely. Students who rely on internet sources like those tend to be marked down by assessors. You just can't trust the accuracy of the information, and it's likely to be politically biased and often promotes a particular point of view.
But isn't that the case with the books we're recommended as well? The authors all have a particular opinion.
That's true. The books on the reading list will often have a wide range of opinions, but they'll have been critically reviewed by other academics and will be respected by the academic community. The authors will have researched their subject thoroughly and basically met certain academic standards.
OK, I'll remember that. Thanks for your help. Before you hear more of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30. Now listen and answer questions 26 to 30.
No problem. The other thing to remember is to proofread your work carefully before you submit it.
Yes, I do tend to make some basic spelling mistakes.
Well, it's partly about that, yes, but you need to do a bit more than just check for spelling mistakes. Read your work through first to make sure your arguments are clear. Are the paragraphs well constructed and in a logical order?
Yes, that's where planning comes in, doesn't it?
Yes, and remember what I said earlier. Check you've answered the question fully and make sure everything you've written is relevant. Some students think it's all about hitting the word count and fill their essay with information that doesn't answer the question.
Yes, I think I might have been guilty of that in the past.
Once you've read through the main content, check your use of language. Make sure you haven't used any informal language. This is an academic piece of work, so you don't want to be using slang words or idiomatic language. Watch out for any typing mistakes as well as incorrect spelling. And don't forget to check your grammar. Your sentence structures need to be correct. Finally, punctuation can make a huge difference to how effective a piece of work is, so give that some attention as well.
OK, I will do. Many thanks for all your help.
That is the end of part 3. You now have 30 seconds to check your answers to part 3. Part 4.
You are going to hear a lecture on the subject of strength training. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to week 5 in our sports coaching module. In this lecture, we're going to look at the importance of strength training for amateur and professional athletes. One thing you'll often hear from people participating in a sport like running, cycling, or swimming, and especially those who do it for fun rather than competitively, is how little, if any, strength training they do. They'll all tell you that they know it's good for them and worth doing, but it's not their thing. They like running, cycling, or swimming, not lifting weights or doing pull-ups and press-ups. Unfortunately, for those with this attitude, without regular strength training, it's unlikely they'll achieve their full potential. They may also suffer long periods of inactivity through injury, and professional athletes may even find they have to retire from their sport too early. It may be something that doesn't come naturally, but encouraging people to look outside of their chosen sport will benefit them in various ways. And it doesn't have to require a visit to their local gym or the use of special equipment. It's unfortunately the case that people who do a sport are more likely to injure themselves than people who don't. Virtually all athletes will have an accident at some point or other. The accident could be something as minor as falling during a run and result in nothing more than grazed knees. But accidents can also lead to pulled muscles, torn ligaments, or broken bones. These injuries are unpredictable and need to be dealt with as and when they occur. Sadly, there's not much a strength training regime can do to avoid injuries sustained this way. However, much of the time an athlete spends injured is probably due to those accidents that could have been avoided with correct strength training. Each sport involves repetitive movements that, over time, put excessive pressure on joint muscles, or that can lead to the body becoming out of balance. Think how much stronger a tennis player's dominant arm must be over the non-dominant one. This kind of imbalance can be avoided to some extent by cross-training. That is, by doing more than one sport, such as running and cycling, which spreads the pressure on the body more evenly. However, nothing beats following a tailor-made strength training routine. Doing exercises that counteract repetitive movements and imbalances helps to create more all-round body strength. You'll become more flexible and you'll strengthen those muscles that are underused, all of which will help avoid injury. A training program shouldn't just be focused on strengthening an athlete's muscles. It should be developed to suit their particular sport and also improve their flexibility, which in turn will affect their overall performance. No matter how strong you might be, if you can't touch your toes, that stiffness will work against you when you work out. Including flexibility exercises will help with muscle and joint movement, improve your posture, and allow you to deal with the aches and pains of everyday life. For older athletes, or for those who wish to continue doing sport into their old age, strength training helps counteract the natural process of muscle loss. As the body gets older, it gradually loses the ability to convert the food we eat into muscle because it produces less of the hormones that are necessary to burn fat and build muscle. Weight training can boost the production of these hormones. Strength training is important for other reasons as well. Let's not forget that it can also benefit a person's mental health. In the winter months, when the opportunities to participate in an athlete's chosen sport are few and far between, or during periods of injury, strength training can fill the gap and help the person feel they're still making progress. It's still possible to set goals and see improvements in strength or stamina, and so it helps promote a positive attitude. Lengthy periods without exercise can seriously affect people used to working their bodies, so a program like this can help keep them motivated. So, including a strength training program for athletes, both amateur and professional, young and old, can help avoid injury, develop posture, increase strength and flexibility, and maintain mental health.
That is the end of part 4. You would now have 10 minutes to transfer your answers to the answer sheet.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing as topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.